Good evening. I am Bryson Royale, your host for today, Lakeisha Hamilton's son. And our guest today is Randy, one of the board members of my mom's company, Youth at the Crossroads, and her mentee for 15 years now.
Yes, sir. 15 years.
So my first question: how did she come to be your mentor?
Wow. So she actually was, I guess, one of the great leaders of a youth sports program called National Youth Sports Camp that was hosted at Kennedy King College before they moved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a wayward kid, and she had very abstract ways of grabbing our attention, and I just kind of stuck to it like glue. And as far as advice, she was very influential. So I seen that she was a little bit more aggressive than I was normally accustomed to, but her methods were beneficial to me being successful. So I adopted her as my mentor a year after going to the camp, because I came back 2 years.
Okay. Do you think that if we had, hypothetically said, we had more Lakeishas out there in the world to help children that were like you, do you think that Chicago or even the world would be a better place for African American children, or any children that are dysfunctional, have a dysfunctional home, or just have their life isn't in the right place?
Yeah, absolutely. They might have a little bumps and bruises, but ultimately, I do believe that adults stepping up and trying to be influential in a child's life is very beneficial to them being successful, and them crossing over to take the same road that they did going forward. I would have been completely different if she wasn't in my life. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about the adults. Why do you think that most adults do not act on this stuff? Most people oh, we need this to change, gun violence, all that stuff. Why do you think they always talk about it, but not a lot of them? They don't act on it. Yeah, they don't get involved or act on it. They do protest stuff, but what is really going to change those problems? Why do you think adults don't actually stick out and help those children like my mother did?
Your mom did something that was extremely risky.
Mm-hmm.
And extremely dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
There is not a lot of people in the society, in whatever ethnic community, that are willing to put themselves in harm's way. Your mother has jumped in between people getting ready to fight. Jumped in between us as teenagers when we were about to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people just do not have the intestinal fortitude to be that safeguard.
Mm-hmm.
I remember her walking people to bus stops and walking with us just because she knew that a certain area would have a problem with another area, neighborhoods, excuse me. And people, adults just don't want to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
Because one is that the kid's response isn't as educated as it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're ignorant to the fact that, respect your elder. That is went out the window.
Okay.
So a lot of people say, oh, well, they're going to do what they want to do anyway, so they don't need me getting involved, or they only get involved when it's pertaining to their child. But we have forgot, as adults, because I am 31 now, we have forgotten one important thing. It takes a village to raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
The mother and the father's personality is given to the child at birth. So the child has the mother's and the father's DNA embedded in them, and it takes both of them to have a even influence on the child in order for them to grow up the way that they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because they adapt both parents' personality. So as adults in the community, it's you got a kid, I got a kid, your mom has a kid, Anaya has a kid, and whoever else has a kid. The personality and the traits and the characteristics that we all share collectively as adults would help drive that child. But in today's society, they don't want to do it. They don't want to be bothered. They feel like it's too much responsibility.
So basically, you're saying that the adults, they don't, like I said before, they don't want to get up, put on that belt and just go out there and act as a village for everyone, not just their own children.
Yeah, and you know what another issue with this is? You don't want me to talk to your child, and I don't want you to talk to mine. That's not your child. Don't discipline my child. Don't say nothing to my. That's what's going on with the new age.
Okay, that makes sense. So with people like my mother who took those risks, they help the children. They take care of their children simultaneously while taking care of other children, making sure that they don't. That basically that the world is a better place. Correct.
Right.
Right. Okay. So how do you? Why? Okay. So the village. Everybody's in the village. How do you think? Do you think that Chicago has a good village setting?
Absolutely not.
Why not? What factors?
That's not something that's practiced in Chicago. It takes a village is more of from my understanding. It takes a village was more of the southern thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was more of the old times where people lived in tight knit communities.
Mm-hmm.
So you had people that came up in Stateway Projects, Ida B. Wells, Cabrini Green. Those were tight knit communities. So you saw that child. Miss Bernice was gonna talk to Miss Tasha, and both Miss Bernice and Miss Tasha knew your mama. So if anything happened, either Miss Bernice or Miss Tasha was gonna tell your mama. The communities in Chicago aren't like that anymore.
So they're all separated.
Everybody's separated. Everybody got their own business. And then in the black community, which is very, very, very sad, and I'm not gonna touch on it too much. Blacks don't want to see other blacks succeed. Think about any other nationality that you have in this world. They do everything together. They communicate. No, not crabs in a bucket, but they make sure that everybody's around them succeeds. You know how I talk to you and I say, bro, listen, in order for you to be successful, this is what I want you to do. I want you to change your environment. I want you to change the way that you think. I'm trying to brighten your horizon and have you experience new things so you make sound decisions. The black community ain't what that is. The mama stayed on St. Lawrence. The daughter stayed on St. Lawrence. The daughter kid stayed on St. Lawrence. That daughter's kid gonna stay on St. Lawrence. We as the people is in one of those situations where if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's terrible to me. But when you see Indians, Chinese, Mexicans, everybody else, oh, their kids got trust funds set up. They started a tire business. The kid go to work with the dad and know how to change tires and know how to change the oil. So when the dad steps down, the kid steps up. When that kid steps down, the other kids, we don't do that.
Okay, so do you think so like those select few that are being helped in this family, so like everybody do the same thing. Her mama didn't go to college, so her child doesn't go to college. Blah blah blah.
Right.
Do you think that if that you select few of teenagers that they're adults now, that they went to college, they became prosperous, they have money, and they came back to their families, and to their communities and gave back like most people once tells the youth to do. Oh, if you get rich, come back to the community and give your money to the community so it can help better people. Do you think that if you just show as a youth, oh, I did this, that now that you can do it too? Do you think you could do that?
Yeah.
Do you think the adults could do that?
Yeah, and you know it has happened. In some instances, it's helpful. It helps out. It shows the positive view that we have when we stick together, the camaraderie that we have, and then other times it doesn't show. It doesn't show. You know what A Boogie with the Hoodie is?
I've heard of him, yes.
Okay, so A Boogie with the Hoodie is a rapper. Me being in the music community, I keep up with certain things that's going on in the music community. He is very successful rapper. He went back to his neighborhood and it was gonna give away $5,000, and he had all the little kids coming up to the car and he handed out the money. And one thing that he said is that overwhelmed him, because what happens with us again, and I hate, and I'm pro-black. Okay, let me tell you that I'm pro-black. I love all of the races, but me, I'm pro-black. I'm the melanated king. But with us, it's okay, Bryson. I'm gonna let you have this phone. All right, this phone has everything that you need on it, but it ain't the newest phone. Then I go over here and I give a person a newer phone. Now you upset because you didn't get the newer phone. That's the same thing he experienced. He giving everybody $100. That person got their $100, and it's 100 other people here that need $100. Let me get another 100. Let me get another 100. So it makes it hard for us to come back into our community and do something, because first off, they don't appreciate what was done. They want more.
Instead of putting their own work in, they expect other people to do it.
Exactly.
Okay. So, how do you think that, like, other than the whole hereditary thing, that I come back to my family and I show my younger youth that I can do it, that they can go to college and become prosperous? How do you think that we can reach the adults?
You know,
The older people, the adults that not unless I don't want to say they don't do it purposely, but like subliminally, they show the kids that there's only one way to go in life. Like, how do you think we could change their perspective on life?
their perspective is gonna change by watching you. You know, I got a good friend, Alexis, which she is first generation university. Went the first person in her family to go to college. And now you showed everybody else that's coming behind you that it can be done, and then you show the adults, hey, it can be done. Now they can make the choice to go to college or not, but that's what they, you know, it has to be you. You have to break the cycle. The main issue with that is when people don't do certain things, it's because they're not comfortable with doing it or they don't know how to do it. But if you come up and you do something specific or you make that change, you show everybody else that was before you that it can be done. And then you show everybody else that's going to come up behind you that it can be done. So you were the one to change the direction of how things was going. That's going to be that's the best advice that I have.
Okay. So, what about... Okay, no, we already did the kids. Okay, so exactly... Jesus Christ. Okay. So you show them what to do. Well, not show them what to do. You show them they can do it, and basically they should break out of their conformity. Because like my teacher told me, without breaking out of your comfort zone, you're never going to make it in life.
Correct.
So you show your family that you can do this, but you can't do it without being comfortable. You have to break out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So how? Okay. Wait. So how exactly do you? Why does the adults? Why do you think the adults didn't have that kind of role models when they were younger? Where did all this start? Like where did the start and where did it end? Where like everybody stopped the wealth, everybody was prosperous, whatever, but like just stopped. It's like nobody has no dreams. Well, like everybody has dreams, but they don't know how to do it, and then they have people bringing them down. Like where did that start?
Man, that's beyond me. That's way before me.
Okay.
That's something that happens in the household, and you know, it just passed down through generations. That goes way back to slavery, man.
Okay.
That goes back to, if you know anything about slavery, when you had the blacks that worked in the field and the blacks that were light skinned enough to work in the house. That's what started that. That's how that started. Okay, I ain't good enough to work in the house. So the mindset that the ones that worked in the field adopt versus the mindset the one that worked in the house, I was good enough to work in the house, so now, you know, maybe I could try doing this. But the ones that worked in the field, if you told the only thing that you can be able to do is work on a motor, you hear that's instilled in your mind subliminally, and without you really paying attention to it, that's what you're gonna believe. Just like what happens with us in the black community and everybody else that looks in on us. Oh, they ignorant. The only thing they're gonna be able to do is go to jail. They ain't gonna join the gang. And that's what we know because that's what is communicated to us. But if I told you, Bryson, you know what I want you to do, son? I'm gonna teach you exactly how to be the president of the United States. That is what your job is gonna be. And I give you every tool and every resource in order for you to be the president. Your mindset is, bro told me I could be the president, so now I'm gonna be a president. But if I'm telling you the only thing you're gonna work on is the only thing you're gonna know how to do is work on a motor, that's what you're gonna do. So that's what happens with us. Oh, you ain't gonna do nothing. We ain't going to college. I don't know nothing about that. That's a waste of money. Go to work. People think coming up to collectively as teenagers. I don't know if eight. I think 8 brains makes one good one because it's like, man, we get ready to go on 79. We going to Ford City. We going. It's not. You know, trying to make sure that everybody around him is productive. So it starts with that. It's that part of that mindset. It started from a long time ago. If somebody didn't tell you can do it, you're not going to do it. If you think it's hard, you're not going to try.
Okay. So do you think that that other cities and states they have that same youth, the same mentality other than Chicago?
You know what? I don't want to speak to that because I have not experienced the youth from other cities. I have been to Chicago, which is my home, born and raised and bred. I've been to Atlanta, I went to Atlanta, went to school in Atlanta in like 8th grade. I've experienced some youth in Columbus, Georgia, and Phoenix City, Alabama, so I can speak to those specific cities. And a lot of the issues that we do have are not city based. It's not geographical. It's a mindset.
Okay.
It's not the gender, but the ethnicity in itself. Because of, again, like what people tell you can do. You gotta have one reaction. It's two reactions to it. Either you're gonna not try because somebody told you it's hard, or you're gonna get upset and do it because nobody can tell you what to do. It's only gonna go one of two ways.
Okay. Change the subject. Speaking of Atlanta, I've heard that you moved there. So exactly, how is it? How is it first? How is it?
I enjoy it. I enjoy it wholeheartedly. It's very crazy because Atlanta is very similar to how Chicago. The restaurants, the amount of food that's available, the party lifestyle, job market, things like that are very similar. So I feel as if I'm at home, but I'm in another city and state.
Exactly. Why did you transition from Chicago to Atlanta?
That's actually a good question. So I actually was in the military.
The military, yeah. Okay.
I joined the military in 2008. I left here. I went to Columbus, Georgia, for basic training, and I loved the weather. Then I moved around, of course, and then I came back to Columbus, Georgia, for my last duty assignment. And when I was in Columbus, Georgia for my last duty assignment, I would go to Atlanta and go out. Go into Atlanta, go shopping and stuff like that. So being in Atlanta and seeing what the city was like and how much I enjoyed it, I just moved there. I tried to come back to Chicago after I got out of the military, but it just wasn't, the mentality that people had was not conducive and it wasn't conducive to me being alive.
It was like negative mentalities.
Yeah, I've deployed twice, so I've almost died 7 times. So the mindset that I needed to have and the way that I needed to be comfortable, because I do have post-traumatic stress syndrome. So, post-traumatic stress disorder. So, I do have issues with, negativity, loud noises, bangs, and, just crazy stuff. So, the things that people do in Chicago is they don't like to communicate. I like to communicate. If I upset you, tell me why I upset you so I make sure that I don't cross you again. Okay. But here, it seems like I step on somebody's shoes and I'm really apologetic about it, and it was an actual accident, but I could potentially lose my life. I wasn't allowed to make that decision. Also, your mother told me that I couldn't move back here. So when she found out I moved here, she made me move back to Atlanta. Okay.
The military, speaking of military, it's like, I don't want to get too deep, but like, how was the military? For any youth that was watching, do they have any tips on if they want to, on what to do if they do in the military, like what do they expect to see, whatever?
Two words that I would give them, and they could, I would like them to look up these on their own. Okay. Discipline.
Discipline.
Discipline and uniformity. Discipline coming from the standpoint of you are going to have to humble yourself. Your mind no longer belongs to you. Your body no longer belongs to you. And that sounds really crazy, okay? But you have to transition from the mindset of I am Bryson Royale to I am Private First Class Royale. It's other people around you that are responsible for you, and you are responsible for other people around you. So when you discipline yourself, the decisions that you make, the way that you train, the way that you work, you always have to have the mindset that somebody else's life, career, livelihood is on the line. And the next one I said was uniformity. You have to do things exactly the way you are trained to do things, because they could potentially save your life. And those are two words that I knew nothing about. They didn't exist in my vocabulary until I joined the military. And that is how I'm able to go into any neighborhood in Chicago and get out of any neighborhood in Chicago, because of those two things. I'm disciplined enough to know when not to engage in something and when to engage in something. And then I have enough uniformity in my life to know that I am not of my community. I'm not that product. I'm Randy Wright.
Okay. Why exactly did you join the military? Is it because you knew that you was gonna learn those specific traits and you needed, because you wanted that in your life, or like was there something else?
I joined the military because I didn't want to let down your mother. as crazy as that sounds, I didn't want to let her down.
Mm-hmm.
She did so much in grooming me into the man that I am today. Like part of the man that I am today, I owe to her.
Mm-hmm.
Because she taught us that we are strong black men. We are educated. We speak prophetically. That's what she instilled into me. And I didn't do good in school. And the only other way that I knew I was going to be successful is if I joined the military. Because that was easy. You do this, okay, I do that. You do this, okay, I do that. So I knew that I could go in there and do the best that I could and be the best that I could. And I wouldn't be in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm able to come back and I'm talking about my experiences. I made it out of, 7 near-death experiences because of me in Chicago and Keisha coming to me. It's times where the times that I died, I wasn't on deployment. I wasn't always on a military installation. I was in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I argue with him, I know it could possibly, and I argue with them and got shot at. Like, she is the reason why I'm successful. That's why I joined the military, because I knew that I needed to get out of the city because my life was important to not only me, other people around me.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think that you would be right now if it weren't for Lakeisha Hamilton? Dead? Okay, so as a youth, did you have did you have like influence that weren't that good, or were you just didn't have that foundation to believe in yourself or have dreams?
I didn't have a strong foundation coming up. I didn't have a strong foundation, or I didn't have positive influences other than your mother.
Mm-hmm.
My whole teenage life.
Your whole team? Okay.
Your mother was the only one that influenced me to be better. And then after I got to the latter part of my teenage life, then I met a woman by the name of Nancy Alexander. Love her to death. Keisha was the real on the political side, and then Nancy was the real on the street side.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, if you don't do this, I'm gonna knock you out.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother did some of the same thing, but those two women are the reason why I am who I am. What my positive influences were, which drove me to be able to do what I'm doing today.
Okay. Before we wrap up, do you have any a message for the youth?
My message to the youth would be to be true to yourself.
Be true to yourself.
And follow your dreams. I didn't know where I was gonna be. I'm 31 years old now, and I'm an independent artist singing R&B. I could sing all my life, and I use my talent for the wrong things. I will say, legitimately on air, on TV. I never thought I would admit that, but you have to be true to yourself and follow your dreams. There's so many talented people out here that have skills. You want to be an astrophysicist. I knew nothing about that. I didn't even know what that was until I had a conversation with you. That's another thing that affects us in the black community. Dumb to the fact, I didn't even know what it was. But me, 31 years old, singing R&B, following my dream, and I'm staying out of the way of the ignorance and the BS.
Okay. So speaking of music, you're going to school for music. What is that? What are your major?
Well, my music it's a little bit more than music. I'm in school at the Art Institute of Atlanta for digital film and video production. Mm-hmm. And that is visual and audio. So it does tie into music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And digital. Okay. So are you in the future? Are you ever planning on making a big movie or making big music videos?
Whatever God allows me to do, that's what I'm gonna do. Whatever, because I don't, my days are numbered. I don't know what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do it, where I'm gonna do it. But whatever He allows me to do, I have aspirations to do that. But I heard a funny joke from my grandmother. You want to make God laugh, tell him what your plan is. So I'm not going to say, yeah, I'm going to make a big movie. Yeah, I'm going to be this rich and famous guy. I'm just doing my part. I'm showing the youth that you can do something other than shooting at somebody or fighting in the streets.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you for watching today. Thank you, Randy, for coming.
You are very welcome, sir.
And thank my mother for letting me come on
Thanks,
this
Keisha.
week.
Thank you.
Make sure to tune in. My mother will be next week. She always has intriguing conversations. And thank you for watching. Bye.